For those of you that own a F250 late model, you can find that the bass is really bad on these cars. The subwoofers are absolute crap. They weigh like, I don't know, 3 pounds altogether. The subwoofer and the box, so they're extremely weak. You can't really feel the bass. So my plan is to do an upgrade into a 10-inch subwoofer and build my custom box that's going to go under the seat. I'm going to go over the entire process of how I get this done. So first, you want to take that out, and this has 3 mounting points. There's 1 point there, 1 there, and 1 here. And all you need to do is just get the seat back. There's a latch. You got to reach your hand into back here and press this upwards, and that'll release this whole mechanism to get the seat down. In order to get your hands into here, you need to lift the bottom up first in order to get access to this. Quite simple to get this open up. All I did was took that subwoofer out, and there's 3 mounting points, and then I slid this MDF board back there. It goes all the way out back where the normal amplifier is mounted, and so that's where my new amplifier is going to be mounted. This particular amplifier is for the high level, for the mid and high range. So I'm going to use that for all the other speakers, and then the new amplifier is going to power just the subwoofer. So that's my plan right there. Get this open up for a second. So what I did was I took the storage system out because this gets in the way and there's not enough room for height to get a new subwoofer on there. 4 mounting points, there's 2 here, 2 on the other side right there, and you just back the nut out to lift the entire thing up. So that's where we're at. These are actually bolted down, bolted up from the bottom. So you can just back this back down, get it out. On this side, I can't do it because the fuel tanks is under. But on the other side, let me show you. I took it out because the bolt's not long enough to mount my new subwoofer box. So you can see that I backed it all the way down. You see the ground right there. So you go down there and back those 2 bolts out, and you can get a longer bolt on. And so let's take a walk over to my new box that I just built today. So let me see, we'll probably should look at from back here. So on the passenger side, this is where my 10-inch is gonna go. Looking from the back, and then that's the storage. You can see that I drilled the 4 holes. These are matching with the mounting points in the truck I just showed you. So I can clamp this whole thing down, put some sealant around it so it's not leaking the pressure from the subwoofer. So if you look from the front to the back, you're gonna see that. So the seat's gonna go up here, and I'll show you guys when it's all done. I just want to show you when it's out. These holes are for, since it's going to be a top mount, the chair is going to be here. So I just wanted to give it a little bit air space for the sound to come out and not locking up the woofer. It's empty back here too, so should be fine. Reason for these 2 plates is that I'm going to put a piece of plexiglass on top of this to protect things from falling on top of the speaker. Besides the chair, it has like all this cloth that might be hanging down and rubbing on the cone. So that's the plan. Now let's take a walk over. I'll show you my selection for subwoofer and amplifier. So I went with JL Audio subwoofer. This is a 10-inch, and this will give you really nice bass. And you can see that it has reduced height on them. It's got a 3.5-inch mounting height, which is exactly what you needed for the car. And this is the owner's manual right there. It's a 10TW3. So you could get something similar to this. This is a D4, which means it's a 4 ohms dual cone. Sorry, it's a dual 4 ohms. So it's got two coils. And I'm gonna drive that with a kicker. See what you can see from there. We go. A CX. Let's see, CXA 400.1. So I picked that because the peak power output of this is 400 watts RMS, and the peak power that this can handle is 400 RMS. So it's gonna go together real nicely. I'm gonna hook this up in a mono mode. So what you need to do is hook it up to here and here. Just two connections to the subwoofer, and in the back of the subwoofer there's 4 terminals, and you gotta hook it up in parallel in order to get the 2 ohms stable coming out of this amp. So that's about it. Wiring diagram, which we're just talking about. If you have one subwoofer, you can run them in mono by hooking up these 2 connections. And these are very self-explanatory on how you hook this system up. So as for wiring, positive, negative wires, I'm running 4 gauge. They recommend 8 gauge for these, but I'm just being conservative, running 4 gauge. This is twice as big from the battery. You can see that I hooked it up to a disconnect, just in case of something happened. It'll just pop off, and you can reset it instead of putting a fuse on it. Then you gotta replace a fuse. Yeah, it's always a good idea to have a circuit breaker in your system close to the battery. So often battery is going to go like this, and then it's going to go to the amp. And I believe the power hookups right there, positive, ground, and that's the remote. So that's pretty much where we're at. When I started to get all the wiring done, I'll show you again on where all the wire goes, and then show you the complete system, and we'll give you feedback on how it sounds. All right, guys. Before I'm walking over to the car and show you guys the final installation, I just want to walk over my selections of subwoofers and amplifier. Explain to you why I did what I did. So let's look at the subwoofer first. So what happened is this 10 TW3 comes with a D4 and D8, and for these it just allow you to be flexible with your hookup. So on this page right here, it will have two different setups you can do. You can do series or parallel, and so they give you option for like number of speakers or subwoofers. I only have one, so with a one subwoofer that hook up in series, if you choose a D4 in series, you get 8 ohms if you hook it up in series. And if you go down to parallel hookup, and if you happen to pick a D4, you get 2 ohms. And I like to hook up in a 2 ohms stable and I'll explain why that is from the amplifier setting. And so with a 2 ohm stable, you still get 400 IMS of power. That's coming from the coming from the amplifier. Sorry. So now, if you look at the amplifier itself, the kicker, with Model C XA 400.1, and you look at the impedance that it puts out in the power, and you can see that these are like 400, 800, and so on. I picked the 400, and the 400, if you run at 4 ohms in a mono mode, you get 150 watts. You run at 2 ohms, which the one that I'm running, 2 ohm stable, you get 300 watts output IMS. If you run at 1 ohms, you get 400 IMS. And so the reason why I didn't go for the 1 ohm is that I like my amplifier to be conservative, and I like to run it for a long time. So running at 2 ohms, it helps to keep it a little bit cooler and not pushing it so hard. Besides, it says I'm pushing 300 IMS out of the amplifier, and my subwoofer handle 400, so I got that extra 100 IMS just for safety, and for this particular reason that I'll show you. So when I received the kicker certificate, and when they test the output, they got 524. So the spec says 400 at 1 ohm, but when they test at 1 ohm, they got 524. So if I feed all 524 watts IMS into my 400 IMS subwoofer, I probably blow the speaker, or if I don't blow it, it's not going to last very long. So looking at it, if I set it for 300, it's probably going to put just a little bit over 400, and it perfectly match with the speaker. And I'm probably not going to crank it all the way up anyway. But anyway, that's how I selected the amplifiers and subwoofer. I hope that helps a little bit. I prepare a little fancy wiring diagram for you to show you how it goes in the car, and then we'll show you how it looks like in the car. But this is just a wiring diagram. We'll quickly go over them. They look a little messy, but hey, it's really straightforward. I used to install many of these subwoofers and amplifiers for stereo competition, so this is probably the simplest that you can set up your system with. So you look at the subwoofer with the dual voice coil, you get 2 positive and 2 negatives. And since I'm running it in parallel, I want to hook up the positive to the positive and the negative to the negative. And out of either this terminal and this terminal, I'm just gonna run a wire to the amplifier. Same thing here. You just hook this 2 up and then put a wire either in this terminal, or this terminal, and run it to the amplifier. And that makes a parallel hookup, and that'll give you a 2 ohm that's feeding into the amplifier. And really, this is all the things that you need to hook up in the amplifier. Everything else is for like settings and things that you really don't need to mess with. Well, yeah, you do, just for setting up the first time, like you set up your crossover frequency and all that. But those are just settings. So as far as hookup goes, So look at this. So the amplifier will have a plus plus, minus minus, for putting out in stereo mode. That means that you can do like 2 of these subwoofers. But in this case, we do mono. So we're gonna bridge it into this terminal, and this terminal is the first plus and the first minus, and that'll give you a bridge mono mode. So down here, you just hook this one up to your battery. We show you how I get that 4-gauge wire from the front of the truck to the back. You get your ground. You can just ground it right where the amplifier is. And then the remote turn on is the wire that will be coming from actually your line converter, since you really don't want to run the line all the way from the front of the car. It's just basically a signal to turn the amp on when your stereo is turned on. I'll explain about this line converter a little bit later. Well, actually, that's the only thing left to explain. So now it goes to the low input that you need to input into the amplifier in order to play your music. And so the car doesn't have a low RCA output, but it does have a high level output that goes into the sub, that where you disconnect from the subwoofer. There's 2 wires that you need to tap into. And you want to use a gray wire and a green and a violet. So this is a high level. The gray is the let me see if I remember this right. Gray is a positive high, and the green and violet is the negative high from your car. And you're gonna hook it up to your line out converter, and what it does is it'll take the high output and it's convert into a low output for you. Not only that, it will give you a remote turn on signal of 12 volts, which is really nice. You don't need to run that line all the way from the front of the car. This is a kicker converter. Let's see if I can show you the box. There you go. You can get this one. Kicker is KISLOC2, and you can buy it off of Amazon or whatever. And that does really nice thing. And back here, it'll give you instructions on where the wires are and what they are. So it says white plus. I'm sorry, I got it backwards. So the white is the plus signal that you need to input. So green violet is plus from your car. The gray is a minus. You just only need one. You only need one input. These has a bunch of wires, so they let you input a left and a right. You just need to pick one. And because we're running mono mode, doesn't matter. And what else didn't I cover? And then you run your RCA cable from your converter to your amp. You're good. Remote turn on. You hook that to the remote turn on the amp, and you get to go. So, yeah. No, basically this is the entire hookup that you need to get done. I think the hardest part for me was to run a line from the front of the car to here, the 4-gauge wire. It's not hard. It's just like punching through the firewall. It's a bit tricky. I'll show you where that is and how you can get that done without damaging your car. Other than that, it took me a full day to fabricate a box. Excuse me, and paint it. So pretty much a whole weekend project. So just make sure you plan it out. All right, we'll show you what's in the car. All right, guys, so here's the final product. It's looking great. Basically, yeah, here's the flexi glass that I put on top just when the seat folds down, like all this stuff doesn't get into the subwoofer. I gave it a good like inch or so clearance, so that should be good. Painted this with truck bed spray. The texture looks pretty cool. And let's take a walk to the other side. So lots of storage space right here. I was able to put everything that I had on the factory storage rack in here, so I didn't really lose much storage space at all. And the amplifier is let me pull this real quick. The amplifier store is installed back here, just like what I was talking about before. And I flipped the amplifier upside down just so I can get access to all the connections this side while I was standing here from outside, hook it up. Basically on my wiring diagram, I drew it wrong. Basically, the positive bridge read, the positive actually closer to the inside, and then the negative is right here. You should see it right in the wiring diagram of this particular amplifier. So anyway, so I wrote that wrong on the schematic before. I ran 4 gauge. This is a spade, so you just need to go and buy a 4 gauge with a spade connection to go into here. This lead is the remote turn on. That's come from this kicker piece that I showed you before. So that's remote turn on, and then of course I got the RCA input into here. That's it on that side. Other than that, just like basic setup for crossover frequency and all that good stuff you can play with, gains and all that. So you still can keep these for all the mids and highs. So you use these amplifier, don't mess with it. This is extra. And when you flip this up, there's like huge clearance here with a lot of airspace, so it doesn't get cooked up. So yeah, nice and clean. I'll show you guys when I flip all the seat down. Yeah, you can see just like a standard box. The other side can flip down as well. So this, let me pull this, get it down. Yeah, look at that. Look pretty nice, just like it's meant to be there. Bass sounds real nice. Power lead. So it happened to this side of the battery, right there, and it goes through a circuit breaker, and then it goes through, not sure you can see it down there, but there's a rubber piece that I basically just punch a hole through it for the wire lead to go through. I'll show you, it looks better from the inside. Probably can locate it from in here. Right there. So this is your paddle, your brake paddle. And for reference, so you come right in, and this rubber piece right here, basically I just punch a hole on the left side with a really sharp pick, and then just punch it through the other side so I can see where it is, and then I just pull the cable through. You pop this kick panel open to get the wire to go through. This can be pulled out and then run the wire through here. This, you just pull this out and then straight up to get the wire to go through there. And then pop this piece, get the wire to go through here. And at that point, you can lift this up a little bit. I think what I did was I ran the wire under this carpet into there. And basically that's your positive lead. Oh, I already snapped it in, so I don't feel like trying to open that again. but the negative terminal, there's a stud that sticks up in there. So I just ground it right to the chassis or the body, and it works well. So there we at. I'm gonna play some music and record the cone. I know it's not gonna sound good with the iPhone, but you see this. All right, guys, here we go.